Under the cover of night, Ukrainian soldiers destroyed a Shahed drone base in Donetsk. The explosive video was first published the day before by Russian opposition social media channels. Afterwards, the commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces drone systems, Robert Brody, better known by his call sign Madhyar, confirmed that the blaze illuminating the now-occupied Donetsk airport was the work of his fighters, as well as special operations forces and the missile troops and artillery. Together, they meticulously planned this strike for several months, and finally, on the night before Thursday, they destroyed one of the Russian bases used for assembling, storing and launching Shaheds. Special Operations Forces added that they achieved their targets with as many as 90% of all launched drones. It's still not exactly known how many enemy supplies they destroyed, but the scale of the fire and the number of repeated detonations amazed eyewitnesses.
There, you're shooting it down, Salev. Get up! Out of the car, out of the car, out of the car, damn it! Into the trees! The trees! There goes another one flying. Damn, my windows just got blown out.
Ukrainian forces have once again struck Russian oil refineries, energy infrastructure and factories producing goods for the war effort. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the defense forces are systematically targeting critical elements of the military-industrial infrastructure both within Russia itself and in the temporarily occupied territories. At the same time, the Wall Street Journal notes that the Russian army had long held an advantage because the West restricted Ukraine from striking targets inside Russia. However, these restrictions are gradually being lifted, and our defenders have begun to strike an increasing number of targets. More details to follow.
The Volgograd oil refinery gave out and completely halted its operations after successful strikes and the subsequent fire. Ukrainian drones hit the plant during the night of November 6th.
Bam, did you see that? Yeah.
Reuters, citing its own sources, reports that 2 units responsible for processing oil have been put out of commission. The annual volume of oil refining at this plant, which belongs to Lukoil, exceeds 15 million tons, which is 5% of all oil refining in Russia. In temporarily occupied Crimea, the defense forces struck 3 facilities containing fuel and lubricants, including hitting a tank and rail cars at the loading and unloading rack at an oil depot in the village of Havardiske. Tank farms at 2 depots in Simferopol were damaged. A fire broke out there.
The defense forces are systematically implementing a set of measures to strike critical elements of the military-industrial infrastructure of the aggressor state, both on its own territory and in temporarily occupied areas, in order to deprive the enemy of offensive capabilities and the ability to continue its aggression.
For the second time this week, Ukrainian strike drones have attacked the Russian petrochemical plant in Stolitamak, Bashkortostan, which is 1,300 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Local authorities are advising people not to approach windows and to avoid open areas.
It went boom again, just like before.
And this is now the Kostroma region. There, in the city of Volgorekensk, the state district power plant was attacked the day before. Locals said that first they heard several powerful explosions and then saw a fiery glow above the plant.
Boom. At first, it collided with one pipe, first there, and then in the area where all the pipes are located, where all the pipes are.
The Kostroma State District Power Plant is located on the right bank of the Volga. Its total capacity is about 3,600 megawatts, making the plant one of the key facilities in the Russian power system. It consists of several power units, and its chimney, at over 320 meters tall, is one of the highest in Europe.
Oh, there's a third one appearing? Well, damn, that's it. We're...
Yaroslava Marushchenko for the program Viknes TV. Marathon, the only news.
And next, exclusive footage from the security service of Ukraine from one of the hottest spots on the Donetsk front, the city of Pokrovsk. The agency notes that their special forces have been fighting there for a year already. Just in the past month, fighters from the Alpha Special Operations Center have eliminated more than 1,500 occupiers in Pokrovsk and its outskirts and destroyed 20 tanks, 10 air defense systems, 8 electronic warfare systems, and nearly 4 dozen artillery complexes, including multiple launch rocket systems. They also destroyed about 60 armored vehicles and more than 1,000 vehicles, and cleared nearly 600 enemy positions and fortifications.
SBU fighters have been conducting combat operations in the Pokrovsk direction for a long time, and after the escalation of the operational combat situation in this sector of the front, the number of CSOA soldiers there has increased significantly. They carry out extremely difficult missions in the hottest spots and eliminate enemy units with precise strikes.
And as the SBU emphasizes, Alpha Special Forces have also carried out a number of operations behind enemy lines. Thanks to such raids alone, in the past month alone, they have blown up 3 large Russian fuel and ammunition depots. The information about Russians capturing new territories in the Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhia regions is not true. In particular, the village of Pavlivka also remains under Ukrainian control. Reports about it appeared online the day before. As stated by the Southern Defense Forces of Ukraine on their Telegram channel, fierce fighting is currently ongoing near this settlement. Meanwhile, near Primorske, the occupiers are trying to flank Ukrainian soldiers through the former Kakhovka reservoir, where there is dense vegetation and reeds several meters high. However, the defense forces are destroying them, according to the report. Also, in the area of Uspenivka, which is also in the Zaporizhzhia region, the enemy destroyed several positions. Therefore, Ukrainian defenders had to withdraw deeper into the defense, but the fighting for the settlement has not subsided. In addition, the enemy taking advantage of the weather conditions, there have been thick fogs in Zaporizhzhia for several days, tried to infiltrate deeper into our defenses past Ukrainian positions. But in these sections of the front line, we are constantly conducting search and strike operations and destroying enemy sabotage groups. Over the past day in the south, the enemy lost more than 200 personnel. Under the cover of night, Ukrainian soldiers destroyed a Shahed base in Donetsk. The explosive video was first published the day before by Russian opposition public channels, and then the commander of the UAV forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Robert Brovdy, better known by his call sign Madjar, confirmed that the blaze which lit up the now occupied Donetsk airport was the work of his fighters, as well as the Special Operations Forces and the missile troops and artillery. They carefully planned this strike together for several months, and finally, on the night before Thursday, they destroyed one of the Russian bases for assembling, storing and launching Shaheds. Meanwhile, the Special Operations Forces added that they achieved their targets, hitting up to 90% of all launched drones. How many enemy supplies they destroyed is still not precisely known. But the scale of the fire and the number of repeated detonations amazed eyewitnesses.
Here, I'm shooting with a tracer. Get out of the car, out of the car, out of the car, damn it. Into the woods, into the woods! There it goes, and what? Damn, it hit me. Damn, the windows got blown out.